Oh, whoops. Where's my, there it is. And get rid of this. All right. Hello again, comrades. Tonight we are going to do some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. Is this working the way it should? Well, it is on my end, but it doesn't appear that... Huh? What? Excuse me? Here we go again. Okay, good. It's displaying again. All right. We're good to go. Now let's continue. Looks like we were about to start the trial of Turnabout Time Traveler. Let's see what we're in for. September 22nd, 8:45 a.m. District Court, Defendant, Lobby number 3. I'm trying to remember the voices I gave these characters. I might just, do it from scratch. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Ellen. I see you're still wearing your wedding gown. And I will continue to wear it until our marriage is saved. Oh! Soren! Oh, there he is. Do you think he came to see how she's holding up? Probably not. Soren, my love! You came all the way to the courthouse just to see me! Oh, Soren, I don't know what to say! Blueprints. Uh-huh? The engine blueprints. I can't find them. Do you know where they are? Oh, they're in your room. Third shelf from the bottom on the right-hand side. I see. And off he goes again. Because he's a jerk. He's leaving already? Don't tell me he came just to ask about some stupid blueprints. Is he really that cold of a person, or is that just how he comes off, I wonder? I think it's a little of both. What about me, Soren? Ellen. He's back. Come home soon. I'm lost without you. Later. Looks like showing your vulnerabilities is the fastest way to capturing a woman's heart. You should take notes on this, Nick. Please leave me out of this. Anyway, it looks like Soren isn't big on words, but it's clear that he cares about Ellen. And knowing that, I actually feel kind of relieved. Just redoing her makeup. Yep. There we go. Mr. Wright, I just absolutely can't be found guilty, you hear? Don't worry, I'm gonna do everything I can to prove your innocence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Trial is about to start, sir. Edgeworth. Knowing him, he's not gonna yield an inch. So I just gotta fight with everything I've got and save Ellen. September 22nd, 9 o'clock a.m. District Court, courtroom number 6. dun dun dun. Day 1. Court is now in session. All rise. Except I can't do that because if I did, then I'd be off camera. Court is now in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Seeing so many familiar faces gathered together like this, I feel as though I'm at a grand reunion. It makes me want to go out for dinner and a drink and reminisce with all of you.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was dying for a real burger the whole time I was away. We could make it a welcome back party for Maya. How about it, Edgeworth?
I have no intention of cavorting with my enemies. Now then, Your Honor, let us start this trial at once. Oh, still not one for light-hearted banter, are you, Mr. Edgeworth? Jokes and good humor are beyond worthless in a court of law.
Guess we'll just have to have the party without him, then.
However, were it after the conclusion of this trial, I might consider joining you for your little welcome back party. I certainly wouldn't mind an invite at the very least.
He's still as emotionally constipated as ever, I see.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please go over the details of this case for us. The victim was Dumas Gloomsbury, a servant in the Sprocket household. He was in attendance at the wedding reception that occurred from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mr. Gloomsbury apparently felt some animosity toward Ellen Wyatt, and so, a bit after the reception ended at 10 p.m., he assaulted Miss Wyatt with the intent to kill her. The defendant fought back and ended up killing Mr. Gloomsbury. In other words, it was justified self-defense, correct? If that's the case, then the defendant might not be criminally responsible.
He's right. Worst case scenario, I could go for self-defense to avoid the criminal charge. I wonder how Edgeworth plans to counter that, though.
The prosecution's first witness will make my view on the matter clear, Your Honor. Very well. Bailiff, please bring in the first witness.
Huh? Who this now? Oh, it's you! Right.
Please state your name and occupation, witness.
Emma Sky, forensic investigator. And I'd just like to say, sir, that being in the same courtroom as you is a great honor! Oh, that's right. You're a fan of Edgeworth's, aren't you, Emma? We're good friends and all, Mr. Wright. But just this once, I intend to faithfully and fully testify for the prosecution. And I do mean that wholeheartedly.
I expect no less from you.
Yes, sir, I'm gonna do my very best. Looks like you lost the popularity contest to Mr. Edgeworth, Nick. Meh, I really could care less. Besides, she'll see who's the better lawyer once I win this trial. Yeah, maybe then you'll actually really care less.
Now, Detective Sky, if you please.
Rundown of the case. The murder weapon was a clock called the Timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind, and he fell over right into the lantern. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body holding the murder weapon. The victim was struck twice, by the way. Wait, what? He was struck twice? That's right. There's no mistake about it. The first blow was to the back of the victim's head. It was hard enough to knock him unconscious. Yet despite the fact that he had been immobilized by the first blow, the defendant delivered a second fatal blow to the side of the victim's head. Which means what exactly? Hang on. Can't examine that. Reception, photo of hold, Larry's drawings. Where's the autopsy report? Ellen's statement, flying chapel pamphlet. Okay. And we can't see what happened to him here. Oh, victim's body was found collapsed. Okay, the petals were from flowers. Okay, that's not relevant. Just trying to get a grasp of what happened here again. Okay. Hi, Sparkle. Welcome.
I figured it would go right over your head. Let's put it this way. By striking the victim a second time, the defendant killed her last chance to escape from any criminal wrongdoing. She did? But how, Mr. Edgeworth? The defendant may have been fighting back because she was being attacked. However, she then went on to deliver a fatal blow to a man who was already fully unconscious.
Nick, is he saying what I think he is?
I don't feel so well. And thus Mr. Wright has justified self-defense been removed from the table. The prosecution intends to prove that the defendant killed the victim with murderous intent. Allow me to belatedly submit the victim's autopsy report.
So that's why he was acting all smug. Well, more smug than usual. It's fine, right? It's not like we were gonna plead self-defense anyway, right? Right, but now the judge has a negative impression of Ellen. Yes, I was looking for the autopsy report. Is it in my court record now? Not yet. I'm gonna read it. He may not get to prosecute much anymore, but he definitely hasn't lost his touch. Autopsy report added to the court record. Okay, Gloomsbury's head shows signs of being hit twice. The timekeeper was...
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay, cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage from a strong blow to the head. One contusion was found on the back of the head and one on the side. The blows were caused by... Okay, the blows were caused by the same weapon. Okay, I was wondering whether the second blow was from him falling. Apparently not. Okay. Well, nothing for it but to press everything and see what happens. Hold it! I said hold it! Hold it? Hold it! Why are you not picking this up? One moment. Hold it! Are you kidding me?! Are you completely sure the murder weapon was the timekeeper? Yes, completely. The shape of the injury on the victim's head matches up with that of the timekeeper. And it's definitely heavy enough to kill someone with. But would the defendant have been able to pick up and swing something so heavy? I tried it myself, and I was able to lift it up just fine. Maybe you're just freakishly strong? Excuse me, Mr. Wright! I'll have you know that people on the force know me as the dainty forensic investigator. Sorry, but really, you're hardly a delicate flower.
Mr. Wright, this is a court of law. Save your antics for after the trial, if you know how.
Yes, sir. It won't happen again, sir. Moving on. Hold it. Hold it. Oh, I didn't need to not emphasize that, not enunciate the T. Okay. The defendant was fighting back against the victim, right? If so, wouldn't she have hit him from the front and not from behind? The victim must have tried to run once Miss Wyatt started fighting back. That's probably when he got hit from behind. I see, thus the blow to the back of his head. The defendant must have looked awfully scary when she was brandishing that clock. Wait a minute. Broken parts of the... So, it looks like he fell into the lantern, but how would he have fallen at this angle if he was hit in the back of the head? Furthermore, if he was in this angle while he was unconscious, how would she have been able to reach his head? Okay. I don't know about that. Regardless of how scary Ellen looked, the victim was definitely hit from behind. May I go on? Yes, of course, please do. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body holding the murder weapon. Hold it. I said, hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Come on now. Hold it. Hold it! What did I say last time? I don't remember. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold it. Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Okay.
Hold it!
Okay, so it's a sign and an okay, I guess. But that's only because she was so panicked when she found the body. When she found the body, that she tried to use the timekeeper to go back in time.
Mr. Wright, do you have any idea how absurd you sound?
But Miss Wyatt really believed she could travel through time with that clock.
You really should have come up with a more credible story, you know. Yes, I agree.
Me three, but it's all I've got to go on. Anyway, under the circumstances, the only conclusion we can draw is that the defendant killed the victim. The victim was struck twice, by the way. Okay.
Hold it!
Why does that work? Why does that work? Miss Wyatt must have had a chance to escape after she struck the victim the first time. So why would she stick around and hit him with such a heavy object again? Well, about that...
Allow me to explain. Why did she strike him again, indeed? To finish off the victim, of course. This very act clearly shows that she had every intention of killing Mr. Gloomsbury.
But Miss Wyatt would never do a thing like that!
Then let's see some evidence that disproves my theory.
Are you just gonna stand there and take that from him, Nick? I can't refute his claim head-on, so I'll have to approach it from a different angle. Well, it looks like we won't be going anywhere until we can refute Edgeworth's claim. This is so exciting! We haven't taken on Mr. Edgeworth in ages! Yeah. Okay, Nick, now go get him! No need to rush me, Maya. Alright, I'd better start by comparing Emma's testimony with the evidence we have and look for any glaring inconsistencies. Oh, hit with it from behind and he fell over right into the lantern. Yep, right here. Objection! Objection!
Objection!
There we go. Detective Skye, I'm afraid I have to apologize in advance. For what? For embarrassing you in front of your idol. What do you mean? If you take a look at this photo of the crime scene, you'll see that the victim is lying on his back. But if the victim had been hit from behind, as you claim, then he should have fallen over into the lantern face down. Ah! It's not enough to simply take someone's side, Detective Skye, even if it's Mr. Edgeworth's.
There does appear to be a flaw in Detective Skye's testimony.
Hold it, Mr. Wright! If you think I'm just gonna back right down, then you're sadly mistaken. Emma is unusually fired up today. Don't forget, she's in front of her hero, Nick. If the Steel Samurai came to watch this trial, I'd want to do my absolute best, too. Listen, Mr. Wright, it's entirely possible that the defendant moved the victim's body after he fell over, In that case, there wouldn't be any contradiction, right?
Indeed. That was an excellent counter-argument, Detective.
You can count on me, sir! So what do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright?
Is it possible that the victim's body was moved after he fell into the lantern? Let's have a look. How would it have been moved into this position? Sorry, Detective, but there's no way the victim's body was moved after his death.
Oh, really? What makes you so sure?
One look at this here and it should become obvious. Oh, the debris on top of him.
Take that!
Those broken bits of the lantern?
Yes, if the body had been moved after the fact, these fragments would have fallen off of it. But as you can clearly see, they're lying perfectly undisturbed on top of the body. This means that the victim must have been lying face up from before the lantern even broke.
You're right!
We know someone must have put the body there. Perhaps. But our objective right now is to dismantle Emma's arguments.
But wait a minute, if that's true, then when was the victim killed? I mean, the lantern was still whole during the reception, right?
Right, which means we've just overturned a major assumption about this case. If the victim was already dead before the lantern was even broken, then the body must have been inside the lantern since before the reception started. Wait, what? Oh, I see. If he fell into the lantern, then the debris would all be underneath him. I suppose is the argument. But that... I thought it would be possible that like a couple scattered pieces could be on top of the body if he fell into it, because if he fell into it, and it depends on how much give there is to the lantern, I suppose. But hey, let's just roll with this. Fake it till you make it, as Phoenix always does. In other words, the defense asserts that the victim was killed before the wedding reception. What? What? Yeah, there we go. In short, when Miss Wyatt was seen standing in front of the body after the reception, it wasn't the moment just after the murder was committed. It was the moment she happened to discover the body, just as Miss Wyatt claims.
Objection!
Whether the act was committed before or after the reception is entirely inconsequential. After all, it was the defendant who prepared the reception hall for the event in question. Therefore, when the murder occurred, changes nothing with regard to her guilt. She could have killed the victim before the reception, as you claim, and then tried to hide his body in the lantern after the event ended.
Objection!
Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, where would the body have been hidden during the reception in your scenario? That's... Even you have to admit, Mr. Edgeworth, that this has opened up a new possibility. Do explain, Mr. Wright.
Well, if Miss Wyatt didn't commit the crime in the reception hall, then that means someone, somewhere, put the victim's body into the lantern.
I suppose that makes sense. A dead body couldn't have put itself in there.
Exactly, Your Honor. In other words, if the murder actually occurred before the reception, it opens up the possibility that... he was killed somewhere else. If the body was hidden inside the lantern, then it's possible that the body was moved along with it from somewhere else. Oh, you're right!
You can run that mouth of yours all you want. But do you have any evidence to support what's coming out of it, Mr. Wright?
Of course I do! I think the answer lies in that piece of evidence, and in something that was left at the crime scene that will point us to where the victim was really killed.
Very well, Mr. Wright. In that case, what proves that the lantern and the body were moved from somewhere else?
Okay, that's not what it was. Wasn't this? The flowers? Ah, yes! The petals were from flowers not found inside the reception hall. Well spotted, Sparkle. Well spotted. I presume you haven't played this before, because if you have, then I would be quite upset that you're spoiling it for me. But you don't strike me as the type who would have played this. Take that!
Take that!
The photo of the victim again? Yes. I'd like the court to focus on this thing right here.
Take that!
Flower petals, Mr. Wright? These petals are from a kind of flower that were not present in the reception hall. This means they must have gotten into the lantern when it was somewhere else.
And just where do you propose this somewhere else to be, Mr. Wright?
I propose that this piece of evidence will tell us where the flower petals came from. Oh, there's the flowers. Take that!
Take that!
Please take a look at the flowers in this picture of the hold. Notice how their petals are of the same shape as the petals in the crime scene photo?
Yes, I see. They do look to be from the same kind of flower. Is that really all you've got? A flower is a flower is a flower. They're all the same. I would hardly call what you presented compelling evidence. I'm afraid I couldn't disagree with you more, Mr. Edgeworth. I gave a flower of this type to my lovely wife once when we were young, so I can assure you that this is very meaningful and compelling evidence indeed. The soundness of my judgment in this matter is backed by nothing less than pure love. But, Your Honor...
Let it go, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear you don't know much about flowers. It's not like you have anyone you'd actually give any to, after all.
Oh, wow, Phoenix!
But maybe you should study up on them, just in case the opportunity presents itself. He was probably going to give them to you. I mean, what?
Oh, this from the man who only knows the names of 3 types of flowers.
That's hardly relevant to the case at hand. The defense asserts that it's highly probable that the victim was killed in the hold. If the body was then placed in the lantern and moved to the reception hall for some reason, it would completely destroy the prosecution's case. Then you mean the body was... Yes, the victim's body was inside the lantern during the entire beautiful wedding reception, while the defendant and her betrothed were celebrating their love.
What?! Ah, yeah, here we go.
Objection!
Objection again, he says. Your smooth talk might work on his honor, but it won't work on me.
What are you talking about now?
Take another look at all of the evidence and you'll soon see what I mean.
I wish he would just tell me already.
Detective Sky, I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm talking about, correct?
Of course, sir. Mr. Wright is the only one here who hasn't. Why don't you leave this to me, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, let's see what you can do. Detective Sky, please give your testimony to this court.
Alright, we're gonna have to poke holes in something else now. The prosecution's rebuttal. The victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Is there now? I'm gonna press that statement, that third one. It's clear Mr. Gloomsbury was killed after the reception, and that completely contradicts your claim.
I guess so. Tell me you took at least a cursory glance at the autopsy report, Mr. Wright.
I mean, I did.
It appears you've grown rusty since our last outing. Might I suggest you go back and brush up on the basics?
Sure, though I must say, you're as cocky as ever, Mr. Edgeworth.
I beg your pardon.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? I'm just saying that I'll go back to basics if that's what Mr. Edgeworth wants. I'll prove how badly he's underestimating me with a good old-fashioned cross-examination.
Very well. Let's see you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Wright.
Okay. Victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Hold it! Okay. Okay.
Hold it!
Why does, again, the okay does it? Is it possible that the culprit did something to obscure the real time of death, like freezing the body? We've seen that before. No, not in this case. There was no snow or anything to keep the body from decomposing, and there's no fridge on that airship big enough to fit a body into. So you've already checked into that, I see. It all comes down to the estimated time of death, doesn't it? Couldn't the killer mess with the victim's time of death by keeping the body on ice? Yeah, if they had the means to. The prosecution is treating the estimated time of death as an absolute. But is it really? I take it you don't think it is, huh, Nick? In that case, we're gonna have to find a way to convince them otherwise. Yeah, there's gotta be a way somehow. Hang on. I have an idea. Which way do I point? Aha! Dry ice! Objection! Wait. Wrong statement.
Hold it!
Wrong statement! Okay, don't want to get a... You sound pretty certain. You must have some solid grounds for making that claim, right? Of course I do. And you're gonna feel silly when I show you what they are. Ready? Feast your eyes on this! The autopsy report states that blah 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 blah. Estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Are you sure about that, Miss Sky? In other words, objection!
Objection!
I admit that the estimated time of death does contradict my theory. Finally, and that means your theory that the victim was killed before the reception is still entirely plausible. Huh? What makes you think that? The killer could have falsified the time of death by using a certain item in the reception hall. Please take a look at this.
And what is that contraption, Mr. Wright?
It's a fog machine, Your Honor, used to create a special romantic atmosphere in the hall.
And this machine could have been used to falsify the time of death?
Yes, Your Honor, because this machine uses dry ice to perform its magic.
Dry ice? Yes, the super cold stuff commonly used to make theatrical fog, right? I see. So your claim is that this dry ice was used to keep the body cold?
Oh! In that case, I guess the victim could have been killed before the reception. How did the forensics team miss that? A bit of an oversight there, Miss Sky. Bit of an oversight.
Order! Order in this court! Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this development? That the victim was killed in the hold before the wedding reception? The prosecution acknowledges the possibility of this claim. Now we're getting somewhere! The prosecution would also like to thank you, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
For what? I didn't know how a certain piece of evidence fit into this case, but now thanks to you, I do.
What piece of evidence?
To get into the hold, one needs a key card like this one. And here we have a record of those who entered the hold with such key cards. The times aren't specified, but these are the last 3 entries on the day of the murder. And as you can see, the last person to enter the hold that day was the defendant.
No, it wasn't! No, it wasn't! It most certainly was not! Do I have that in evidence, though? Dang it! Oh, I guess the photo of the hold is evidence. No. The last person to enter the hold that day was Larry Butts using Ellen's card. Remember? So if Larry had used Ellen's card, the system would have recognized him as Ellen. What?
So the one who moved the body out of the hold must have been...
That's right.
It was none other than the defendant.
Hold entry record added to the court record. Hey Nick, take a look at this entry record. There are a couple of other names on here besides Ellen's. Hey, you're right. According to the entry record, Mr. Edgeworth, Pierce Nickety had also gone into the hold. Isn't it possible that he could have been the culprit?
Sorry, but Mr. Nickety was escorting a few of the guests at the time. I'm sure they would be happy to testify to that fact if you like. Think me cocky all you'd like, Mr. Wright, but my confidence is rarely misplaced.
Ugh!
Now then, it's probably safe to assume that after killing the victim in the hold, the defendant moved his body to the hall in order to dispose of it discreetly.
What do you mean by discreetly?
The defendant volunteered to take care of the reception's cleanup personally. That means she would have had the chance to dispose of anything in any way she wanted, including taking the lantern off the airship without raising any suspicion. Don't tell me you didn't know about Miss Wyatt volunteering for cleanup duty, Mr. Wright.
Oh yeah, no, she totally did.
For my last task as a servant of the Sprocket household, I opted to take on the preparation and cleanup of the reception banquet.
I see.
Look at you, sweating buckets like a rookie, even after all these years. Nevertheless, thank you for proving that the only person who could have killed the victim in the hold is Ellen Wyatt.
Ah! Great job, Phoenix. Now we're back to square one.
Perhaps you should ask Miss Sykes for some help in reviewing Defense for Dummies.
Way to go, sir! You've got Mr. Wright in a cold sweat!
I wonder if maybe the promise of seeing that miserable look on his face is what brought me back to court today. It certainly made all of my stress and woes as chief prosecutor just melt away.
I guess he had a lot of stress built up.
I'll give him something to stress over before we're through today. Your Honor, the prosecution asks that you render your verdict at this time, before that man over there tries to throw the court into chaos with his meaningless bluffs. I see. Mr. Wright, are there any last meaningful bluffs you'd like to present to this court?
Why does he have to assume it'll be a bluff? Nick, hurry up and throw a good one out there!
I will!
Well, alright then, let's see. I've got it! How do you know it was Miss Wyatt who used her keycard? How is that? Were you not paying attention yesterday? After all, if it turns out that somebody else used her card, it would mean Miss Wyatt didn't do it.
Interesting. And are you able to prove this bluff to be true?
I assure you I'm not bluffing, Your Honor. Well, now what? Wait a minute, Nick. I can think of a certain somebody who might have used Ellen's keycard.
You can?
Remember? The one who was sneaking around the hold in spite of not being a family member?
Yes, Larry Butts!
Oh, that's right.
Your Honor, the defense would like to call a certain witness to the stand. I need the testimony of this person who may have entered the hold with Miss Wyatt's card.
Take that!
Take that!
Sorry about the mic slap.
That's your witness? Are you saying that numbskull was on the airship? He never breathed a word about that to me!
That's not surprising because Mr. Nickety told him to keep quiet about it. But Mr. Butts himself admitted it to me. He claimed to have found a way to sneak into the Flying Chapel's hold to see Miss Wyatt. This photo he took and gave to me is proof.
Then was it he who moved the lantern with the body inside to the reception hall?
You know as well as I that with him anything is possible. And this is one possibility we should definitely look into.
I can't believe this. What in the world is he doing mixed up in this?
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Remember what we've been saying since elementary school?
When something smells, it's usually the butts.
Exactly!
Ugh, Larry, he'll pay for this!
Well, if you want to extract your payment now, he's right up there in the gallery. Yikes!
Bailiff, seize the witness before he makes a run for it!
No! Why does this stuff always happen to me? Sorry, Larry, but you brought this on yourself.
Let us break for a 15-minute recess. I ask that both sides prepare for the next witness's testimony during this time.
September 22nd, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3.
Wow, it's been a while since I've had this much fun and excitement. A face-off against Mr. Edgeworth, a harrowing tightrope walk for the defense.
Whew, I'm exhausted already.
Boss! I'm here for moral support.
Athena, are you all done practicing for Trucy's magic show?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I sort of ran away. But that's because she was putting my life in danger, I tell you!
I see. I think I'll need to have a one-on-one with her. You're really athletic and fit, Athena, so Trucy probably thinks she can run you ragged.
That may be true, which is why not even Trucy can keep up with me when I run at full speed. Looks like you spoke too soon, Athena. Never underestimate the resourcefulness of a great magician. Magical girl Trucy Wright is on the scene. Oh! Now, Athena, it's time to practice human combustion magic. Go on, douse yourself with this gasoline. But don't worry, it's a magic trick after all, so it's perfectly safe. Run away! Hey, you're not getting off that easily.
Well, that happened.
They get along so well, don't they? It reminds me of the good old days. You, me, and Pearlie. And Detective Gumshoe. Can't forget him.
Who brings gasoline into a court? Trucy Wright, apparently. She's kind of crazy like that.
We had all kinds of fun at the crime scenes back then, remember?
Leaving me to do all the serious investigating, as I recall. Course will be back in session, Mr. Wright. Right, thank you.
So Larry's the next witness, right? I can't wait to see what happens.
Sadly, I can already imagine it. September 22nd. District Court, courtroom number 6. Wait. I remember something about if you are completely covered, if a part of you is completely covered in gasoline and then it's lit up, then I remember that not burning you, but let me confirm that, because I'm not gonna say something on stream that could get people to try something at home that they shouldn't and end up seriously injuring, if not killing themselves. Hang on. Oh. It's lighter fluid. Oh no. Oh no, Trucy's getting gasoline mixed up with lighter fluid. Yeah, Athena could be in some serious trouble here. Oh dear. Court will now reconvene.
Nick, Edgy! The two of you are gonna hang me out to dry, aren't you?
No, not the both of us. Just Mr. Wright.
Nick, how could you?
I don't really think he did it, of course, but I gotta use whatever leads I can. Mr. Butts, there's a possibility you moved the lantern that had the dead body in it. So if you want to clear yourself of any suspicion, all you have to do is testify. This is not gonna go well. Now then, your testimony, please, witness. Why? Nick is a jerkface? This is your testimony?
Nick, you big fat stinking jerk! How can you doubt your best bud? We've been knowing each other since elementary school. Well, get this, pal. Our friendship's over.
That was not a testimony. Hey, Trucy, where's that gasoline? Well, go ahead, Mr. Wright. He's all yours.
Why me?
You're the one who called him to the stand, so he's your responsibility. Thanks, old chum. Thanks, old chum.
Can't any of you show me a little respect, even just a shred?
You're gonna have to earn that, buddy, and so far, you haven't. You may cross-examine the witness, Mr. Wright. I would if there were any testimony to cross-examine. Alright, I guess we're pressing. Nick is a jerk face. Hold it!
Hold it!
Come on, Larry, can't you please give me something real to work with?
Don't think I don't know about your...
Sorry.
Don't think I don't know about your tricks! If I say something careless, you're gonna shove some evidence at me with a loud... objection! And a super smug look on your face!
Yeah, well, that is my job.
And if I get found guilty, how are you gonna take responsibility for what you've done?
Why should I take responsibility for just doing my job? Why am I being called at this hour? One moment, everybody.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. Was my dear old mother asking how something went today. What was the chat history here? Why should I take responsibility for just doing my job? You heartless jerk! Don't you have any compassion for me? No. No, I don't. How can you doubt your best bud? We've known each other since elementary school. I'm sorry, Mr. Butts, but if it wasn't Miss Wyatt that entered the hold with that card, then you're the most likely suspect. Nick! Are you seriously doubting the innocence of your old childhood friend? Well, technically yes, but it isn't personal, I assure you. Oh, a true friend would believe in me no matter what. Can't you see my tears? Don't they mean anything to you? Nick! Nick! You don't really think you can cry your way out of this, do you? Okay, fine! In that case... Don't care! I don't care. Hold it.
Hold it!
Larry, listen to me. Shut up! I'm not talking to you anymore! This is getting us nowhere. Come off it, Larry. If you don't quit fooling around and start testifying, Miss Wyatt will be found guilty. For real? If no new information comes out of this cross-examination, then yes, Mr. Butts, for real. Not that I would have a problem with that myself. Larry, just tell us the truth already. Did you or didn't you go into the hold and move a lantern up to the reception hall? I never moved any bull lantern, I tell ya! Bull lantern? What? Did I say something weird? You told me that you didn't attend the wedding reception. Can you believe they told me only family and relatives could attend? They wouldn't even let me into the reception hall! Yeah, there was a bull lantern and a cow lantern. And then there were 2 bull lanterns at some point, I think. Yeah, so what? Then that's odd. No one in this courtroom ever mentioned the sex of the lantern that was moved. So how could you know that it was a bull lantern? You didn't have to actually go to the reception to know that! Anyone could tell there were 2 Pegabulls by looking at the Flying Chapel's pamphlet! All I can tell right now is that there's a strong scent of bull in the air here. Please add that last statement to your testimony, Mr. Butts. Anyone could tell there were 2 Pegabulls by looking at the Flying Chapel's pamphlet. No. There's 1 Pegabull and 1 Pega-cow. Objection! Objection!
Objection!
Dickweed. I want you to take a look at this, Mr. Butts. Because unfortunately for you, the pamphlet clearly shows a Pega-cow and a Pega-bull in their example diagram of the reception hall. Uh-huh! But on that day, instead of putting a Pega-cow and Pega-bull out for the bride and groom, there were 2 male Pega-bulls on display. Yet somehow you knew there were 2 Pega-bulls in the reception hall that day. There's only one way you'd know something like that, Larry. It was you who moved the Pega-bull to the reception hall, wasn't it? No! Larry, you didn't! Mr. Butts, did you move the lantern containing the victim's body to the reception hall? That's what it looks like!
What?
Hold it! Oh, wait, Nick! You don't think I'm the murderer, do ya?
Maybe you and Mr. Gloomsbury were fighting over Miss Wyatt and you ended up killing him?
Maya! Not you too! Look, I did sneak into the reception, but that's as far as it went. You know me, I wouldn't hurt a fly! You stuck into the reception? Yeah, sure, but some of the Sprocket men caught and locked me up in one of the cabins. It was pretty awful, actually. But that's when I made that drawing of the pterodactyl I showed you, Nick. Ixnay on the Aerodactyl tail, Larry!
Mr. Wright, not even you would take this farce that far, would you?
We are talking about Larry. What do I do? Do I accuse Larry of being the true culprit? No, of course not! No, you're right, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Butts didn't have a reason to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. He might have had an imaginary reason to kill Soren Sprocket, sure, but not Mr. Gloomsbury.
After all, he did steal Mr. Sprocket's bride and try to elope with her.
Just because I tried to steal somebody's bride doesn't make me a murderer! I believe you, Larry, and I don't think you killed anybody either. You would never do anything like that. Nick, oh buddy, oh pal! I knew you'd come through for me! Funny that, considering your sworn testimony just now that we were through. Yes, this guy is peak dumb. That's his whole shtick.
Mr. Butts, it's time you told this court the whole truth, understood?
The one thing that he is somewhat competent at is art. Everything else he's tried his hand at, he sucks. Because he's dumb. Moving the lantern. It's just like Nick said. I'm the one who moved the lantern. I was poking around the reception hall before the main event and saw a lantern was broken. There was a note on it that said, "Exchange with the one in the hold, Ellen." So I decided to do Ellie a favor. And you just incriminated Ellen again.
So you switched the lantern before. So you switched the lanterns before the reception, did you? Then that means the victim really was killed before the reception.
The lantern in which the victim's body was found, Larry wheeled it from the hold to the reception hall before the reception began. Okay.
It would appear that Mr. Butts completely fell for the defendant's scheme.
Just gonna look at that again. Okay, from the hold to the reception hall. Okay. Wait, hang on. Okay, there's the hold. Pterodactyl. No. Photo of the reception. There's the bull. Okay. Wait, hang on. Okay, Vista deck, sweetheart table. That's the sweetheart table. This is supposed to be a cow, but it looks like the bull back there. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Scheme? What scheme?
This note from the defendant. Exchange with the one in the hold, Ellen. Mr. Butts moved the lantern with the body in it up to the reception hall because of this note, and thus he has become a suspect in Mr. Gloomsbury's murder.
That second lantern did feel pretty heavy, but I never would have thought there was a dead body in it. Ugh, what was a note like that doing on the lantern in the first place? Hold it! You've got it all wrong, Mr. Edgeworth! I left that note for myself! It was simply a reminder because I can be very forgetful!
What a sorry excuse, Miss Wyatt. The prosecution contends that this note shows one facet of the defendant's murderous plan. And you, Mr. Butts, you played right into Miss Wyatt's hands.
No way, Edgy! I don't believe it!
Objection!
Do you still really believe Miss Wyatt to be the culprit, Mr. Edgeworth?
Of course, my stance on the matter remains unchanged. If you think I'm wrong, then prove it with your cross-examination.
Gladly.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
Hold it!
Why didn't you tell us that sooner? Because I knew you guys were going to be suspicious of me, that's why! We're suspicious of you now because you tried to hide it.
My thoughts exactly.
Well, now I've told you. Happy? So how about letting me go?
Nope.
No, not yet. We need you to stick around to sort a few things out. Fine! I was poking around the reception hall before the main event and saw a lantern was broken. Hold it!
Hold it!
The lantern you swapped out was a female Pegamoo. A Pega cow, right? Yeah, I guess. Why did you replace a female lantern with a male one? Because I was too busy trying not to get caught. I didn't have time to check for little details like that. If you didn't want to get caught, you could have just left well enough alone, you know. Whatever! Anyway, when I took a look at the broken lantern, I saw... there was a note on it that said exchange with the one in the hold, Ellen. Hold it.
Hold it!
That note wasn't addressed to you, was it? Well, I guess not, but how could I let my dear sweet Ellie do all that odd physical labor on her own? It's precisely that thought process that constantly gets you in trouble, Larry. Besides, it was my big chance to show her how much I cared about her. So I decided to do Ellie a favor. Oops. Knowing Larry, he definitely did something stupid somewhere along the way.
Wow, Larry sure is one special guy. Not everyone has the privilege of being this distrusted by their best friends.
Assuming he can't be trusted from the get-go usually makes things easier, I've learned.
Oh, I see. You totally trust him to be totally untrustworthy.
Yeah, I guess that just about sums it up. There. Hold it!
Hold it!
Nobody saw you the whole time while you were switching the lanterns? Nope, I didn't get caught. Not that time, anyway. Not that time? Yeah, when I tried to sneak into the reception hall the first time... I didn't have as much luck. Those Sprocket guys spotted me and nabbed me. All of my words are failing me right now. Pretty exciting, don't you think? Larry, you need help. And then they locked me up in one of the cabins. Nick, what are you asking about stuff like this for anyway? Shouldn't you be trying to prove Ellie's innocence? Well, is that statement of his important to the case? Yes. Mr. Butt's trying to crash the reception and subsequently getting locked up in a cabin. I believe these might be important facts in this case, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Butts, please add that statement to your testimony.
More testimony is never a bad thing. I tried to sneak into the reception hall, but I got caught and locked up in a cabin. Hold it. I said, hold it. 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 Oh my God. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
Hold it!
So you got locked up, then what happened? I broke out. Then I started looking for Ellie and wandered into the reception hall again. That's when I saw the broken lantern and replaced it. Even after they caught you and locked you up, you still went looking for Miss Wyatt. But hold on a minute.
What is it, Nick?
Maya, doesn't something seem weird to you? Larry is saying he replaced the lantern after he broke out of the cabin.
That's right. Oh, wait. Huh? You're right. It doesn't make much sense, does it?
Mr. Wright, have you found an inconsistency in the witness's statement?
Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. Mr. Botts moved the lantern after he broke out of the cabin, but that contradicts with this. Where's that floor plan? That map. Okay, he was in the cabin, and he would have gone to the hold, but he would have had to go through here unnoticed. Twice. Take that.
Take that!
And in what sense does that piece of evidence contradict with the statement?
It doesn't contradict it at all, does it?
Indeed.
Ugh! Oh, don't mind me, Your Honor. It looks like I just made a tiny mistake. That's all. Okay, so it's not that. Hold it. Hold it.
Hold it.
Hold it!
So you got locked up, blah 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 blah. Something doesn't add up. Blah blah blah. Moved the lantern after he broke out of the cabin, but that contradicts with this. Okay, so it's not this. Then... Okay. Take two. This. Larry wheeled it from the hold to the reception hall before the reception began. I'm gonna try this. Take that.
Take that!
Is that?
Yes, it's the broken lantern, Your Honor. Mr. Botts, what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all. What? Why not? You swapped the lanterns before the reception began, right? Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? But you also just said that you swapped the lanterns after you got locked up in a cabin for trying to sneak into the reception. Oh, sneak into the reception, not the hold. In other words, you're saying you swapped the lanterns both before the reception and after the reception took place.
That certainly doesn't make any sense, does it? Mr. Botts, did you swap the lanterns before or after the reception? Which was it? Before or after? There's a world of difference between the two!
Well, Mr. Botts? I guess I can't expect guys like... What was the voice? I forgot his voice again. I guess I can't expect guys like you to understand. In a nutshell, it was both before and after the reception. What? I tried to sneak into the first reception and got locked up. The first reception? Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going. Then, through the power of Ellie's pendant, time got rewound and we went back to the time before the reception. It was after that when I replaced the lantern. So it was both before the reception and after the reception. Get it? We went back in time to before the reception, so of course the reception would take place one more time after that, right? That's why what I said makes perfect sense!
Mr. Wright, what in the world is the witness talking about? Has he developed some sort of intellectual ailment I'm not aware of since I saw him last?
I'm telling you, there were two receptions. Well, none of the sprockets seem to remember the time skip, but I do. And Ellie remembers it too. I think the power of our love for each other made that miracle happen. I think the power of our love for each other made that miracle happen.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but could you please translate this man's gibberish so the rest of us can understand?
So now I have to be the one to explain about the whole time travel thing? Go on, Nick, I know you can do it.
Looks like you don't have much choice, Nick.
To heck with it. I can't lose any more of my dignity today anyway. The defendant, Miss Ellen Wyatt, has told the defense the following strange story. She said that after the reception ended, she was attacked by Mr. Gloomsbury. She claims that as she was being assaulted, she made a wish upon her pendant. Please take me back to that blissful moment. In doing so, time apparently rewound itself to just before the reception began. What? I know it's hard to believe, but think about it this way. Through the power of the pendant, both Ellen Wyatt and Larry Butts experienced time travel. What?
Objection!
No.
What absolute rubbish! Mr. Wright, I've heard my fair share of your nonsense over the years, but this takes the cake! Have you thoroughly lost your mind?
Objection!
But this is simply the conclusion I came to using that logic ability you love so much.
What?
The truth of the matter is, the future president of Sprocket Aviation, Soren Sprocket, has been researching time machines. So, what if a time machine has already been successfully created? And what if that's one of Sprocket Aviation's top secret inventions?
A time machine?
Yeah, I even saw something while we were time traveling. I saw a pterodactyl flying through the sky. Maybe the airship was set to travel through time for their honeymoon trip?
What? A pterodactyl?
Objection!
You can't possibly have any evidence to back up your ridiculous time travel story!
Well,
As I thought. In any case, I now have the evidence to prove that you're no more intelligent than Larry.
Hold it! Not so fast now, Edgy! I'm not the same old Larry you used to know. Well, mostly the same.
Oh.
You want evidence? I got your evidence right here! This is a photo I secretly took at the first reception!
What?!
What?!
3D Phoenix isn't real, he can't hurt you. Also, hi, Sumi.
Larry, I can't believe you! Anyway, good job! If we compare the photos of the first and second receptions and can find a difference, then we'll be able to prove that the reception was held twice.
Do you really think such a difference exists?
Yes, Your Honor, I just need some time to find it for you.
This is preposterous!
What game and case is this? This is Spirit of Justice, the DLC case, Turnabout Time Traveler.
Very well, please show the court what's different then.
This is proof positive the wedding reception was held twice. Okay, spot the difference, huh? Court record. Where's the other photo we have of the reception? This one. Compare the two. Flowers! Flowers are a different color. Take that! Larry ends up giving more evidence for the prosecution. Please direct your attention to Miss Wyatt's bouquet of flowers. In the photo one of her in-laws took, the defendant is holding a yellow bouquet. It's all... Yeah, this is not the first time tonight it's been the flowers. But in the photo Mr. Butts took... she is holding a red bouquet.
You're right!
That's impossible! What does this mean?
It means that the defendant really did experience 2 wedding receptions. And she did that when she traveled back through time. Okay, well, you're half right, Phoenix.
What?
My running theory is that the time travel was faked, and that this is a conspiracy by the Sprocket Enterprises, or whatever they're called.
Nick! You did it! You proved Ellen's time travel story to be true!
At least as far as she knows. Yeah, I can hardly believe it myself. It's just as Ellen said. The reception was held twice. This turns every assumption we've based this trial on upside down.
Objection!
Edgeworth has had enough of this nonsense.
I refuse to accept such a ludicrous argument! It is pure fiction under the guise of pseudoscience at best! There is simply no such thing as time travel!
I know it's hard, but can't you suspend your disbelief for 1 nanosecond, Edgeworth?
I bet sci-fi movies push all your buttons the wrong way, don't they, Mr. Edgeworth? I can totally picture you yelling, "That'd never happen!" every 5 seconds at the screen. Maybe you should stay away from movie dates altogether.
That's neither here nor there! This is real life we're talking about! But the proof is clearly shown in the 2 photographs.
That's right, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how inexplicable... Yes?
Fine. I'll entertain your absurd delusion. If only to demolish it before your very eyes.
What? That's the plan, Sumi. We're gonna decimate him.
Let's start with this then, shall we? There is one thing your time travel theory fails to explain.
Also, he got older, remember?
And that is the memories of the other guests there. The defendant and Larry remember the reception occurring twice, but no member of the Sprocket family has even mentioned such a thing.
Because they're all in on the conspiracy! Not my edgy. Hashtag not my edgy. That's because the time machine is classified
I'm not done, you bird brain!
Bird brain!
As I was saying, if the entire family had been sworn to secrecy, then why hadn't they sworn the woman who was marrying into the family to secrecy too?
That's a good point.
Honestly, all it takes is a little common sense, Mr. Wright. Shoot him in the shoulder, keep the Von Karma trend going.
Wow, getting a bit savage here, aren't we?
Even still, how do we know that the trip through time did not really occur? There is proof in the photos that it did, and besides, if time travel doesn't exist, well, I'd be a little disappointed, frankly.
Yes. Oh, Franziska got shot in the shoulder too? I didn't remember that. You're right. Yes. Yes. That's right. Yes. Farewell, my turnabout.
I'd be a little disappointed, frankly. I was hoping to go back to the days of my youth. You mustn't allow yourself to be taken in by Mr. Wright's whimsical tales, Your Honor. I've read about it in various literature, you see. And they all say that time travel is just not logically feasible.
Maybe our argument was just a little too nonsensical, Nick.
Well, in that case, why don't we put common sense to the test?
Excuse me?
The wedding reception was held twice. The photos are proof of that. But it wasn't because of time travel. It's simply because the reception had actually been held twice. Isn't that the most reasonable way to interpret the situation?
Would you care to elaborate, Mr. Wright?
If time travel doesn't exist, then there's only one way to make sense of what happened. Somebody must have orchestrated this strange phenomenon, and that somebody is...
The gods! No.
Everyone at the reception. Wonder if someone from the family itself will testify to the double reception? No, but they're in on the conspiracy, remember? If we could force a testimony out of them, then that'd be it. And we'd this make the case much simpler, but that'd be too easy. What if all of the guests at the reception conspired together to hold the reception twice and keep quiet about it?
What? And for what purpose would they conspire to do such a thing?
Well, Who was that? A brilliant... Oh, right. I think this is Patrick Warburton, right?
A brilliant deduction, Defense. I can tell that you're not a renowned lawyer for nothing. I must say, I underestimated you.
How so, Mr. Nickety? Yes, I know, Sumi, I know. Just because I say it's savage does not mean that it is not does not mean that it is not Sasuga. I hope I'm using that term appropriately.
You've managed to name each event precisely as they happened. You have revealed it all. You've revealed it all to the light of day.
Then that means...
It was us. We orchestrated the whole thing. Yes, the reception was held twice. But not because of time travel, no. We simply held it a second time. What?! Why? Why would you do such a thing? To make it as though the murder Miss Ellen committed never happened. Ugh! Master Soren figured that if Miss Ellen, who'd killed Gloomsbury after the first reception, experienced the reception one more time, she would think it was all a dream. It was he who ordered us to make it happen. However, only a few, myself included, knew of Miss Ellen's crime.
Are you saying most of the guests attended 2 receptions without knowing why?
Indeed. They needed no reason. Master Soren told them to do it, and do it they did. That is the Sprocket way.
Then who hid the body in the lantern?
We did. We did not anticipate the pedals finding their way in, nor the actions of Mr. Butts.
And that's how you intended to cover the whole situation up?
There is just one thing everyone here has wrong. The real scene of the murder was not the hold, it was the Vista deck.
What? Then Miss Wyatt's recollection of the events must be correct!
I admit we tried to cover this incident up, but the fact that Miss Ellen killed Gloomsbury is undeniable.
This is quite a turn of events! You think Nickety did it? I'm starting to think Nickety did it. Ah! Congrats on being first, Heck. Nearly 2 hours in. Nice job.
And so it appears we have arrived at the truth at last.
Now.
Please do feel free to travel back in time, Mr. Wright. And attempt to do this trial over again. Go on.
Let's not get hasty, Edgeworth.
I bet you can't do it.
I bet I can't either!
Your Honor, we will have to hold a separate trial for the cover-up conspiracy later. But as far as this case goes, I believe we are ready for your ruling.
Objection!
Just before the defendant lost consciousness during her attack, she says she saw someone strike the victim. It's possible that this third party is the true culprit.
You still want us to believe the defendant's words? Perhaps you've lost more than your touch during your time abroad. This third-person nonsense is nothing but rubbish, and you know it!
Objection!
But by the same token, how can we trust those who conspired and lied to fool this court of law? For all we know, they might still be hiding something.
You never know when to quit, do you?
Now, calm down, both of you.
In any case, there isn't enough trustworthy information yet for me to render a verdict. I suggest we continue the trial after both sides have investigated the matter further. Very well, Your Honor.
That was close.
Mr. Nickety, as for you and your cohort's attempt to cover up this crime, your case will be brought to a separate trial following the resolution of this current one. Understood, Your Honor. Well then, this concludes today's trial. Court is adjourned.
To be continued. Save game. Yes. Turnabout time traveler. Yes. Selected save data. Yes. We'll get started on this, but I don't want to run over time. Too bad. September 22nd, 1:48 p.m. I started very late this time, though, because I was elsewhere. September 22nd, 1:48 p.m. Write anything, agency.
What? So the whole time traveling thing was just a ruse put on by the guests at the reception?
Looks like it. I knew there had to be some kind of trick to it.
Wow, 2 wedding receptions. Can you imagine? I wonder how much that must have cost them.
I have no idea, but if you have to ask, you're not rich enough to want to know. Still, if you've got the money, it's a pretty good way to cover things up, if you ask me.
You got that right. I'm sure I would have been completely fooled. Hi, I'm back.
Hey, Maya, are you all set to go?
Yep, ready when you are. So, what should we start with?
Let's start with reviewing what we learned at the trial. What Ellen thought was time travel was really just a performance put on by the Sprockets. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen told us was actually all true. Oh, Sumi. Yes. Spirit of Justice is the 3rd entry in the Apollo trilogy. I think, if I remember correctly, this case is simply what Phoenix was up to while Apollo was off doing other things in the story proper. I think. Don't quote me on that, though. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen told us was actually all true.
So what really matters right now is the identity of the mystery person Ellen said she saw while she was being attacked. So who is this mystery person?
That's the $1 million question, I'm afraid. But if we want to clear Ellen of any suspicion, then figuring out who they are is key.
I think I'll take toilets for 200 instead, Mr. Wright.
Well, at least there were only so many people on that airship that night. And we know who the mastermind of the whole cover-up plot was, too, so that's good. Oh. Wondering if this case is in it, too, since it's a DLC case. Yeah, that's a fair question.
You mean the groom, Soren Sprocket? You mean the groom, Soren Sprocket, right? Soren Sprocket, right?
Yes, exactly. He might know something that could help us out. So then what am I doing here? I'm a very busy man, you know. Well, all the other people involved are Soren's family members, so I thought I'd better start by interviewing you. Even if I probably shouldn't trust a word out of your mouth. Oh man, I have a really tight schedule, but heck, what are friends for, right? Okay, pal, go ahead, ask me anything. You do remember it was you who came to me for help in the first place, right? Talk about the incident. I want to go over exactly what happened when before I step outside this office again. Since you were there, Larry, do you think you could help me get it all straight in my head? If I gotta. Okay, so the first reception was held at 7 p.m. on the day of the incident. That's the one you tried to crash, right? Huh? Oh, yeah, that's right. And then they locked me up in a cabin. It was awful, I tell you. Too bad we're not here to focus on you, Larry. And then the incident occurred after this first reception at around 10 p.m. Ellen was attacked in the reception hall by Gloomsbury. He forced her out onto the Vista deck and was just about to kill her. But Ellie fought back and ended up killing old Gloomsbury instead. To cover it up, the family quickly threw together a second reception. That's what Edgy is claiming anyway. But I know my Ellie didn't do it! The key point here is the mystery person Ellen said she saw strike Bloomsbury just before she passed out. Did you see anybody suspicious skulking around that day? Nope, not a soul! Because I was locked up in a cabin at the time! But you managed to escape and sneak back into the reception hall. That's when you switched the lantern in the event hall with the lantern in the hold, right? Did you see anybody then? Nope, the place was completely deserted. I guess because that Pierce Butler guy had everybody gathered together somewhere. That makes sense. He must have been going over the cover-up plan with them. So clearly the murder had already happened by the time Larry got out. It must have gotten everything ready fast and had the second reception soon after that. Then after that second reception, Ellie went to clean up the reception hall. And as luck would have it, that's when she found the body in the lantern I brought up. I tried to do something nice for Ellie out of the goodness of my heart, and this happened! We still don't know exactly what happened during the actual murder itself. We'll just have to look into it along with the identity of that mystery person. So while the murder was taking place, you were locked up in a cabin. Did you see anything unusual while you were in there? In the cabin? Let's see. Well, there was that pterodactyl flying through the sky. That's pretty unusual. I maintain that was the map, near the ground. Oh, right, that drawing of that pterodactyl you saw. What's with all the air quotes? I really did see it, I swear! But Larry, the time travel thing never actually happened, which means you couldn't have seen a real pterodactyl flying through the sky. Uh-oh. Are you doubting the eye of a super popular picture book author? No, I'm just sure you saw something else and mistook that for a flying reptile. Nick, you're making me doubt my own eyes! Now I'm not even sure what I saw! He probably mistook something for what he claims is a pterodactyl in this picture. Either way, you have no idea what actually happened at the real scene of the murder. That's right, and I can say that with every confidence. Oh wow, would you look at the time? I better go. I have a book signing to get to. A book signing? Whose book? Whose do you think? It's mine, of course. It's a Laurie Stonin book signing. It's a Laurie Stonin book signing. I bet you went around and begged a bunch of bookstores to let you do one. Oh, of course not! They're the ones coming around to beg me! Looks like I guessed right. Anyway, I have to go! Yeah, the little ping pong ball in the pipe. I'll send you 10 copies of my new book that just got released the other day, alright? 10? That's very generous of you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm gonna send you the bill too, of course. Just put him down as office expenses or something. Well, see ya. Wait, Larry, we don't need... Ugh, he's gone.
I'll take a copy, boss. Oh, and make sure it's signed.
Oh boy, Trucy's not gonna like this office expense.
There goes our first lead. What do you want to tackle next, Nick?
Right, we should really hit the streets now, huh? How about we go see Ellen? The only place where his book will sell. Yep.
Sounds good, boss. I bet I can cheer her up.
I thought you were gonna help Trucy with her magic show again today, Athena? Weren't you supposed to go meet her right about now? Trucy said she was gonna practice her new trick on you, if I recall.
On me? Really?
Trucy's show is an important source of income for our agency, you know. You can leave the case to us, so you go ahead and run along now.
But, boss!
Off you go, Athena!
No! I don't want to die!
We better get going too, Maya.
Okay!
I love how Larry ran off just as it was introduced that this wasn't the pterodactyl, because I am fairly confident... Oh, who's Trucy? Trucy Wright. Phoenix Wright's adopted daughter. I believe the adoption occurred sometime during the events of the first game of the Apollo Justice trilogy. So, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. I'm gonna go to the mooring dock, because... You see this? Oh, they fixed the sign.
Wow, that sign really got smashed up.
There were some really high winds yesterday. And they say that that bench was blown right into the sign.
Wow, I wish I could have seen that!
If you'd been there, you would have gotten blown away by the wind too, you know.
That sounds kind of fun, actually. Don't tell me you never tried to use an umbrella to fly when you were a kid.
I think I'll take staying alive over fun, thank you very much. Okay, but you see, yes. You see this broken piece of sign, the top right chunk? I think that's what Larry saw. And your daughter is like, no, he didn't have a kid with Dahlia, did he? But then, yeah, no, adopted. If there's a problem with that, don't tell me. Okay. Alright, I don't think I'm supposed to be here right now. But yeah, I just came here to show you this this sign here, and I just realized you can't see. I just realized you can't see where I'm pointing. But yeah, that top right chunk of the map sign there, I think that's what Larry saw and thought was a pterodactyl. It's the right color. He's scrubbing the detention room. September 22nd, detention center visitors room. Oh, my poor sweet Soren. I wonder how he's getting along without me. All right, enjoy your breakfast, Sparkle. Hello, Ellen. You've only gotten past case 3. Okay, but you know who Dahlia is. Interesting. All right. Well, do finish that up. It's worthwhile, I think. Third case syndrome takes a lot out of you. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, Mr. Wright, what do you think? What's going to happen with the trial, do you think? Well, first and foremost, we have to hurry up and find this mystery person you saw just before you passed out. Do you think that person could be the real killer? It's quite possible, and if we can prove that, we can clear you of all charges. Actually, would you happen to know where Soren is right now? He's usually busy with meetings all afternoon, but he should be home by evening. What? Who's under... is... underwear? I think I better go have a chat with him later then. Why am I being treated to a view of someone's underwear? Mr. Wright, don't tell me... You suspect my sweet Soren? Well, he is the one who masterminded the second reception after the time skip, so I thought he might be able to tell us something. How could you, Mr. Wright? You can't possibly think... my Soren would never kill anyone! All right, just calm down. No, not if you're accusing my Soren! Please, I'm not accusing anybody, so please put the pan and ladle down, all right? Really? Cross my heart. So, for now, would you mind if I ask you a few more things about the case? I'd better be careful not to provoke her. What am I doing? Talk. Soren. Could you tell me about Soren? There's nothing to tell. He's squeaky clean. All right, okay. Maybe I should avoid the topic of Soren right now. Let's talk about something else then. Fine, but you won't hear a peep out of me about Soren. Talk about pulling teeth. Could you tell me about Pierce Dickety then? Pierce, he came to Sprocket Manor about a year ago. As the family butler, he's now in charge of everything in the household. Only a year ago? Did he have some kind of special connection with the family? I'm just a maid, so I'm not privy to such things, I'm afraid. Oh, it's the little shoulder bot. How did the Judge Godot and the gallery all look at a freaking Tiger Man in a blue suit and paper attorney badge and go, "Yep, that's Phoenix." That is a good question. Freaking Tiger Man in a blue. I don't think I've heard that description before, but I get it. Yeah. Yeah, just some perpetually angry guy who happens to have Phoenix's hairdo. They thought it was him. Yeah, I'm totally Phoenix Wright. That ace defense attorney. My client totally did it. I mean, Yeah, my client totally did it. You got a problem with that, punk? Something like that. It might have been Soren's order, but Pierce is the one who coordinated the whole thing. He's the one who really orchestrated the grand time travel farce. He must have quite a bit of authority in that family. I still think he did it. But no matter how good he is at his job, how could anybody gain that much influence in a single year?
I really don't know. I mean, he is an excellent butler, wouldn't that explain it?
Is it really as simple as that? Time travel. What you thought was time travel was really just a cover-up carried out by your in-laws. Pierce said Soren was the one who ordered the whole thing.
I still can't believe it, even if the second reception was fake. Soren would never use time travel for something like that. He's very serious about his time machine research, you know.
Man, Phoenix seems to have gained some weight. And roars a lot and doesn't sound anything like him. Man, he must be having a bad day. Yep. I mean, that sounds about right for the judge, but everybody else? I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines, actually. Something about something he wishes he could change. But isn't the whole idea of traveling back in time itself a little fantastic?
I don't think so. After all, Soren said real-time travelers do exist.
Really now? You think he knows someone who actually traveled through time?
That's right. I haven't seen it personally, but Soren said as much. So I believe it.
Somebody who actually traveled through time, huh? It's pretty hard to believe. Thank you, Ellen.
You're going out to do your investigation now, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Please make sure you don't cause Soren any trouble, okay?
I'm afraid I can't promise you that.
What?!
Yeah, Oh.
Please, whatever you do, please don't upset my poor Soren any further. I'm begging you.
I'll do my best not to cause him any unnecessary trouble. How did Godot fall for that? I don't think it's a question of Godot falling for it. Oh, right. You think Phoenix showing up without Maya would be an immediate red flag for the judge? Maybe. I can see Furio coming up with some half-assed explanation for why Maya's not there, though. The judge would probably ask. Yeah. It could have been that if he knew anything about Phoenix, but... Anyway, how did Godot fall for that? I'm not going to answer that. Because that would be spoilers. And that is all I will say.
Oh, I couldn't bear it if Soren ever came under suspicion. I'd rather be found guilty myself!
Yikes! Ellen, please! Don't work yourself up like this. You don't want Soren to worry, do you? Wow.
No, you're right.
And the floodwaters recede once more. Crying Pan.
So what do we do now, Nick?
Well, Ellen said Soren is usually in meetings until the evening, so let's save our house call until then. Why don't we go to the mooring dock and figure out our next move from there?
Roger, Nick!
Jeez, and I thought I was a crybaby. Yeah, no. There's a fair number of Ace Attorney characters who probably have you beat there. September 22nd, Sprocket Park Mooring Dock. So where should we start?
Let's see. Are there any places we haven't examined yet? We already investigated the reception hall and Sprocket Manor.
I know! We haven't looked at the Vista deck or the hold yet!
I know! I'll just use my trusty frying pan as a crying pan!
Yep.
Hey, you're right! We've still got some pretty important places left to examine, don't we? The Vista deck is the actual scene of the murder, right?
And the lantern with the body in it was stored in the hold. I think there's a good chance we'll find some important clues in those locations. Yes, Brock.
Do we know how to get to the hold?
Good question. I think it was labeled in that diagram of the airship in this pamphlet.
There it is!
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go! I'm going to save here because we're at the 2-hour mark and I still have some things to do before I go to bed. But this has been entertaining as always so far. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Gonna close out of this here now. Don't forget to join the Discord, where there are things like free games, announcements for my changes in schedule, votes on what I stream, all sorts of cool stuff. Don't miss out. And also, if you wish to contribute directly to this stream, then my coffee is right there. If you donate there, you can get some pixel art from me, and you may also guest star on the stream if you wish. So don't miss out on that opportunity. And finally, even if you can't do that, don't forget that you can subscribe or even just follow. If you have Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, you do get one free sub. It'd be great if you used that on me, but I'm just happy if you use it at all. You remember hearing a spoiler that Godot can't see the color red and just sees it as white or something, and Tiger Man's skin is reddish so he couldn't tell? That's part of it. That's part of it. Not all of it. Anyway, do enjoy the rest of that, Sumi. I'm going to see who there is to raid. Let's see now. Oh! Fire's doing some Stardew. Let's see if I spelled that right. I hope so. No worries, Sumi. And thank you again, everybody, for watching. And I hope to see you Tuesday, when I will have more Mario 64 Eureka. Till then, comrades.